Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Friday Night Frenzy. It's week 3, and there were a lot of key matchups this evening, and the action starts in Ishpeming. The 2-0 Knights visiting the 2-0 Hematites, and someone going home with their first loss tonight. Remember when Ishpeming racked up 416 rushing yards last week? Well, they picked up right where they left off. Opening drive, Gavin Sundberg breaks free for a large gain and sets up this. Drake Sundberg gets in the end zone for the touchdown. 2-point conversion is good, and the Hematites up 8-0 quick. And the kickoff, Matt Trewick keeping the momentum going on D. Trey Doda with nowhere to go. Still in the first, Knights down 16-0. Doda connects with the big man, Cody Hendricks, and the Knights starting to find their groove on offense. Still in the same drive, though, Hunter Smith almost disrupts Norway's momentum, but the near interception doesn't faze the Knights one bit. Doda with a perfect pass to Mitchell LaGrave, and he will run it in for Norway's first points of the game. And the Knights cut the lead to 10 late in the first, but that's about as close as they would get. To the second quarter we go. Ishpeming still holding its lead. Gavin Sundberg to Hunter Smith. That's a 49-yard touchdown reception, and it's now 32-13 Ishpeming, and the Hematites never slowed down. Norway threatening and Smith getting it done on both sides of the ball. So close to another interception, and the Hematites improve to 3-0 and give the Knights their first loss with a 46-19 win. Heading down the road now to Negaunee, Hancock in town, jumping to the second half. Miners up 21-14. First drive of the half for Negaunee, Jason Waterman eyeing up Drew Duchesne, but he can't pull it in. The Miners with a 3-and-out to start the third quarter. And fast forward a little bit to a similar situation. It's still 21-14. Negaunee looking to extend its lead to 2 scores. Waterman again overthrows Drew Duchesne this time, but that beautiful sunset. That place is a great place to shoot some football. No score now in the third. To the fourth we go. The Bulldogs change to no scoring in the second half trend. Colton Solani finds Austin Solani, and he beats out the defenders to get 6 points. The Bulldogs failed on the 2-point conversion, so they're down by 1, and this game came down to the last second with Negaunee getting its first win over Hancock 30-28. To the scoreboards we go. Out in the Western UP, the Purple Hornets get a big road win over Gogebic 34-6. A number of UP teams pitched shutouts tonight, including Iron Mountain, as the Mountaineers win big at home over Houghton. In the battle of undefeateds in Calumet, the Copper Kings topped Westwood 14-12. Travis Ojala finished the game with 2 TDs and an interception in the first ever meeting between the two schools. And Westwood returns home next week to take on rival Ishpeming. And getting back to the action now, we go next to Munising, where it was the battle of the horses between the Broncos and the Mustangs. First quarter, Broncos quarterback Brett Sundquist airs it up for grabs. He finds Mason Scheiding. Just one problem, though. He plays for Munising. Scheiding returns it inside the Bark River 20-yard line, and it'll set up the very next play. Munising goes ahead, and they run the option. Josh Hootery executes it to perfection. Mason Scheiding again takes the pitch and gallops 17 yards for the score. 2-point conversion was successful, giving Munising an 8-0 lead after 1. To the second, more fun. Scheiding, he follows his blockers into the end zone for 6, and he finished the game with 4 touchdowns. The Mustang D was up to the challenge tonight. Check out Dwayne Merck breaking up the play in the backfield for a loss. And Mustangs quarterback had himself a day. He brought his A game. He completed 13 of 15 passes for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns as Munising gallops away from Bark River 58-8. Back to the scoreboards now. Manistee was able to field a team this week, but they run into the buzzsaw known as West Iron County as the Wycons pitch the shutout on the road. And in the Great Northern Conference, the Gladstone Braves shut out Menominee, giving the Braves their first win over the Maroons since 2008. And in Kingsford, the Flivers scored the game's first touchdown, but they lose to Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, who is one of the top-ranked teams in the Badger State, 49-6. And we stay with the Great Northern Conference, taking the action down to Marquette. The Redmen looking for their first win of the season tonight at home against Sault Ste. Marie, and we pick up the action in the first quarter. The Blue Devils punting Drew Weibly tracks down the ball around his own 30-yard line. Then Drew takes off, and it's a good return. Inside the Blue Devils' 40-yard line he goes, and from there, the Redmen offense would go to work. On 3rd and 5 from 13, Brendan Caskey slings it to the far side, and he finds Ethan Martish for the pitch and catch. That made it 7-0 Marquette, and head coach David LaHillier liked that play so much he would dial up something similar later in the quarter, and this time it's 3rd and 8 from the 38-yard line. Caskey rolls left, airs it out for, guess who? It's Martich again. The speedster goes untouched into the end zone for a 13-0 Marquette lead. The Blue Devils scored 14 straight points, though, in the second to take the lead, but the Redmen would answer on 2nd and 8 from the 12-yard line. Caskey goes right, throws it left, and Alex Canute on the throwback screen scores easily, giving Marquette a 7-point lead right before the half. The Marquette D would stop the Sioux at the Redmen 5-yard line right at the half, and Marquette would win it 42-20 over the Blue Devils. Ethan Martish caught 4 touchdowns, and Brendan threw for 178 yards and 5 scores. Welcome back to Friday Night Frenzy. The action continues with 8-man football. Rapid River hosting Kearney-Nadeau this evening, and the Rockets getting off to a quick start to this one. Early in the first quarter, Brent Lundquist hands it off, and Tyler Sundling is the carrier. Crisscross applesauce Sundling. No one is bringing him down. The defender, he takes into the end zone. 6-0 Rapid River early in the first, and later in the first quarter, same score. This time it's Gunnar Larson, and he will find the end zone himself. The Rockets take a 14-0 lead early on, and less than a minute to go in the first quarter. Rapid River doing their thing, and Lundquist can do more than just hand it off. He connects with Noah Gustafson, and wait for it, that stiff arm though, and he is gone. Gustafson beats out the lone wolf chasing after him, and it's 22-0 going into the second quarter. The Wolves looking to get their first points of the game. A high snap there, but Brett LaFord can handle it, and he is scrambling left and right and front and back, and he will just take it himself. You know, he just does it himself. He goes all the way to the end zone. He gets rid of Kearney-Nadeau's goose egg, and it's still 30-6 Rapid River, though, and Rapid River wasn't slowing down anytime soon. The pitch, the catch, Azariah Hernandez meet the end zone. It's now 38-6 Rockets, and Rapid River took off in the second half to beat the Wolves 60-14. And to the 8-man scoreboards, despite outgaining the Panthers by more than 100 yards, Forest Park loses at home to Pickford 88-20. 2 offensive turnovers and a kickoff 38-20, sorry, not 88. That would have been a high-scoring game. And between Engadine and North Dickinson, that was another shutout. Engadine 55-0, and Superior Central improves to 2-1 on the season with a 58-26 W at Ontonagon over the Gladiators.